What's up, guys? Season 14 has been out for a little over a week now, and I'm noticing that there are still a ton of people struggling to rank up. Today, we're going to talk about ranked, what you might be doing right, what you're probably doing wrong, and how to make better decisions overall. Let's be honest, there's a ton of things that are going to factor into whether or not you're successful when you play ranked. This guide is just more meant to shine some light on things that you may or may not be doing and just help you net out more RP at the end of the day. I see a lot of people that are just trying to chase those big wins, the ones where you're getting 200, 300, 400 RP in a single match, and those wins feel great, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, ranked is going to be about consistency. The first thing we're going to talk about is landing. In the lower ranks, this is something that is a much bigger issue than it should be. When I was in bronze and silver lobbies, I noticed my teammates doing the same things you see people doing in pubs. Stop 50-50ing people. When we're talking about smaller POIs, there's really no reason that you should be landing there with another team unless you absolutely have to. Sometimes this happens if you're passing off jump master or you guys are indecisive and you can't figure out where you want to go and you might have to land with somebody. Try to avoid this. Be the person to stand up on your team and say, hey, let's go here. I like this spot. When we're talking about bigger POIs like caustic treatment, relic, and crash site, you're almost always going to have one or two teams landing with you. The 50-50 rule still applies. If you're going crash site and you see two teams that are both going to get to the top before you and your boys, then you're not landing up top anymore. You're landing low, you're getting geared up, and then you're going to push for the third party. When you're landing, try to split up. You want to be close enough that you can help your teammates out if they need you, but not close enough that you are stealing loot from each other. Try to loot different parts of the POI simultaneously, calling out attachments and stuff that your teammates might need so that you guys are all equally geared up and ready to go if you get into a fight. In previous seasons, we had several minutes after we landed that we could get looted up and then we could try to get that early game KP. But in season 14, the ring closes a lot faster than it did in previous seasons. If you're going to take a fight early, you need to do it fast. Just as an example, if you look here, you'll notice that these teams are fighting well outside of the circle and the circle is already closing. Now I'm going to fast forward and show you what type of situation they ended up in because they played out in the storm for too long. So because they rotated in late, they found themselves pinched not only between the teams that were north and south of them on the edge of the circle, but also the teams who had already established their position in the circle early. Because they took an early fight and they ran out of resources, they're now struggling to stay alive in this game because they have no resources left to fight this fight. So if we flash forward here, you'll notice that almost every single team that was fighting on the edge of the circle is now out of the game. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take fights early or mid game or anything like that, but what I am saying is that you need to take these fights strategically. When you're rotating in, if you hear two teams fighting, sure, go ahead, take a look and see if you have the opportunity to get that third party. If you don't, that's okay. Go ahead and move away from the fight, rotate in, and play for position. I feel like I could go on and on about positioning and rotation, and let's just be honest, nobody's going to get it right 100% of the time. But what you can do is try to take steps to making better decisions consistently. If you know that you always get into a fight in a certain spot, and that you usually end up getting sent back to the lobby in that spot, maybe you avoid that spot. My final tip about positioning and rotation here in ranked is going to be you should always have a recon player on your team. I don't care if your main is Octane and nobody picked a recon character. Guess what? It's your turn. You're playing recon this game. Play for beacons, get that information, rotate early, and stop fighting on the edge of the circle. All right, next tip. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, you're going to land uncontested. You're going to try to rotate perfectly. You're going to get beacon, and sometimes you're going to get griefed. Sometimes you're going to get full sent from the other side of the map. Your entire team's going to die, and you're going to barely slip away. And that's your time to shine. You're going to rat it out. You're going to try to squeeze out as many placement points as you can. It's not fun. It's not exciting, but it's something that you're going to have to do. Once you start getting to the higher ranks and you're getting -40 and -50 whenever you start a game, you're going to need to learn how to stay alive even when your team dies. Okay, next tip. When you're playing, you should be watching your teammates' health and their position as much as you're watching your own. If you see a teammate that's rotating away from you and he's going off on his own, you should either be speaking up or you should be rotating with that teammate. You have to play close together. In this clip, Valkyrie kind of makes a bad rotation. She loses all of her shield immediately, gets her ult canceled, and is just trying to stay alive. If you notice on the minimap, not only are her teammates not making their way towards her, but one isn't even looking in her direction. Somehow, Valk slips away, makes it into this room, and she pops the bat. Still, her teammates are not trying to help her. She manages to get the bat off and then fights a 2v1. The craziest thing here is that she actually knocks the Octane and almost kills the Pathfinder as well. This entire time, her teammates have not moved. Valk almost wins the 2v1, but now their third member has moved over here to help, and she goes down. It's only after Valk is finally eliminated that her team tries to make a play over here to stop the enemy team. If they had rotated when Valk originally started fighting, I believe that they would have easily won that 3v3 since Valk almost killed 2 of the players by herself. My last tip for this video is going to be to know when you have the advantage and make sure that you play that. In this clip, the team that's on the inside is doing a really good job of holding off the enemies on the outside, but one of the teammates goes down. Immediately, all 3 members of the enemy team swarm the building and rush in to get the elimination. If you know that your team has a big advantage like a 3v2, you should be doing everything that you can to play that advantage and swarm the enemy team. Overrun them with numbers, play quickly, and play confidently. Hey guys, that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helped at least one person out there. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.